Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw here at ILTMCon, and we're meeting a lot of great hoteliers, and one's next to me right here, Craig Rasmus, who's the Vice President Operations for Fairmont, Africa, and Mantis, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to find out all about what Fairmont is doing here in Africa and Mantis on Insider Travel Report. First of all, let's talk about you work for Fairmont, but then a few years ago you acquired a company called Mantis. Now, what was Mantis, or is Mantis?
So Mantis was a family-run business. Its origins in South Africa. The founding family effectively took a piece of degraded land, rewilded it, and that today is known as Shamari Game Reserve. The group obviously grew, and about 6 years ago, Accor invested into it. And Mantis became one of the brands of Accor. Within the Accor organization, it's grouped together with Fairmont. So I think there are a lot of synergies between the brands, Fairmont being the big city hotels, lots of mice, and Mantis being the smaller boutique eco resorts and safaris and more
lodges, things like that. Yeah,
correct.
So roughly how many Mantis properties are there?
So 16 properties, primarily in Africa at the moment, but we also operate in Costa Rica and on St. Helena Island. We've got a number of openings next year in the Middle East as well. But our ambitions with the core behind us is really to take Mantis globally and be present on all continents.
Well, since it is sort of eco and out there in the countryside, what kind of countries are you focused on? What regions do you want to go into?
I think we want to be everywhere. I think strategically our focus is on North America, Europe, and Australasia to start, and then we'll look to the East and South America after that. Really, that kind of comes from our source markets. Our key source market is North America, so the brand is relatively well known there. Our secondary source market would be Europe, primarily UK and Germany. So again, both markets where the brand is recognised, it makes sense to expand into that first.
And you got some projects with Mantis now. There's some new stuff coming online right now. Talk a little bit about what we were talking about earlier about some of these new projects that are coming out right now.
So I think probably what we're most excited about is the Kivu Queen, which is a houseboat, a luxury houseboat in Lake Kivu in Rwanda.
Not too bad.
Yeah, so this has been a project 5-6 years in the making. I don't know if you've ever traveled to Rwanda.
I have not, sadly. I was supposed to go this year for World Travel and Tourism Council, but I didn't get there. But it sounds like you can go. And how many cabins are in this houseboat?
So 10 cabins, luxury all-inclusive offering. But what I wanted to say is that Rwanda is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. But it's also one of the most difficult countries to actually travel around from a logistics point of view. It's also incredibly expensive. What this property does is it links Volcano National Park in the north, where the gorilla experience is, to Nungwi Forest down in the south, where the chimpanzee experience is.
Which are kind of the two big things in Rwanda, right? Yeah.
So you now create a circuit. And I think that really is the future of Rwanda, is creating more of these circuits and allowing guests to experience more of the country in a much easier fashion.
Yeah, now, how long do they stay on the boat?
So 2 to 3 nights, depending whether you're traveling north to south or south to north. Number of activities along the way. But really, you're in one of the most beautiful parts of the world. It's largely been unexplored because it's actually difficult to get to, and it really is a phenomenal experience on the boat, experiencing the scenery, options to visit coffee plantations, communities, kayaking, bird watching, and also just sitting on the boat and enjoying that.
I've had similar situations around the world, and that sounds pretty good to me. I've done this in Myanmar on a river cruise, which was amazing. I've done it in the Nile, things like that. That here in Africa, in Rwanda, is pretty special.
Yeah, so I think the amazing thing in Africa, there's actually not a lot of opportunities for river cruising. You've got the Nile, as you mentioned. Then we operate 4 houseboats on the Chobe River, which gives super experience, lots of game viewing from them.
Yeah. You're right by Chobe National Park, which has the largest concentration of. How do I know this? Because actually I did the one river cruise you could do on Emma Waterways, and they have one of these too. And
that is our product, I think, the Zambezi Queen.
Exactly, same thing. That is your product, so they license it out or they charter it.
So yeah, we have an arrangement with Emma Waterways, but that is our property, and yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic experience.
It was great, and to to see that. And it's more of a floating lodge, if you will. You're not cruising a lot, but you're taking motorboats out and seeing the wildlife up close, right?
I mean, I think the game viewing experience for me is spectacular, and I mean, you can literally do it from, as you say, a tether boat, going out doing some fishing and having a look at it, or you can do it from the deck having a sundown. It's a magnificent experience.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing. When I did that experience, when we first saw the elephants, we were like, it's elephants, let's go. And then by the fourth day, we're like, no, it's elephants. I wasn't that dismissive of the whole thing. It was amazing to see those elephants. And when you went out on the motorboats and they went right up to them, you're literally a few feet away, and they give you some view time, and then they leave.
Yeah.
So it's an amazing thing. So you've done that yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, in addition to the Zambezi Queen, we've got 3 smaller boats, which we operate on the same river. More intimate, 5, 6 cabins. They're a little bit more flexible, and they can go slightly different places where the Zambezi Queen can't get to because it's too big. But again, just a wonderful experience being able to see animals.
And that is your boat. I did not realize that. I guess you see, they kind of occasionally hide. That's an Animal Waterways. No, you're using it for a month or something like that. But it is, and you have that. How does it operate the whole time? All year round?
Yeah, operates all year round.
Wow.
Obviously, we have certain departures where we have an agreement with Animal Waterways where they take the boat and we operate under their branding. But outside of those periods, you book it as the Mantis Zambezi Queen. And it's a super experience.
Well, it is. So if you miss an Emmy, do it directly with Mantis to see what happens. Now, you also have another green initiative too.
Yeah, so I think if you go pre-COVID, every single hotel group had their own in-house sustainability program, which was really difficult for guests to actually understand. Post-COVID, everyone seems to be moving to eco-labels and certification, and I think the real challenge is they're all the same. So in order to differentiate ourselves, we started working with American Humane about 12 months ago. They're the organization that certify all the Hollywood movie sets from an animal welfare perspective. They've also branched out, they certify zoos and aquariums under Global Humane.
Okay.
And we developed a humane tourism certification program with them. We piloted it with the first 4 Mantis properties, of which the Zambezi Queen is one of them. And they were the first 4 humane tourism certified properties in Mantis. And we will certify the entire portfolio during the first half of next year. And what makes it different is it still does all the ESG and sustainability things that you would expect from a green label, but it places animal welfare at the forefront.
As it should be.
Absolutely, and especially in our industry where we're interacting with animals on a daily basis. And it really hopefully gives guests comfort when they stay at our properties that they really can be confident that animals are being treated correctly, all the proper procedures are in place, and we're doing things the way they should be done.
Anything else you would like to tell our 127,000 travel advisors about Mantis, about what Fairmont is doing in Africa today?
I think what I'd like to actually say is please come to Africa, come and experience our properties. I think it's an absolutely wonderful continent. We've got some wonderful properties and experiences. And what we're trying to do at Mantis is we want the activities and experiences to stand out ahead of the property, because that is ultimately what we're saying. No one goes on a safari and comes back talking about the bedroom or the bathroom. They are talking about the experiences they had.
I come back and said, I had a really great bathroom on that last safari I went on. That's what I said. And that's important too. You have to be comfortable, right?
Absolutely. But really, at the end of the day, it's around authentic luxury. It's having the facilities, being at the correct level, but then offering the experiences. Because we have so many of them in Africa, and I really would love for people to come and experience them.
And absolutely, having done it, and with I was telling you, I did Fairmont, Kenya, which was an amazing safari, and obviously I did another property that I didn't even know it was you, with the Animal Waterways on the Zambezi Queen. Again, Craig, thank you for taking the time to tell us all about Mantis and what you're doing today, and really great product for your Africa-bound clients, so consider it for the future. Again, thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Great pleasure.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.